Hi, my name is Thomas from thomasyoungauthor.com. Today I want to sort of introduce my latest text, my latest essay in the collection Deconstructing Pride called The Sentimental Exhibitionist. The subtitle is called Gay Culture on Social Media. I have a hard time recording these things because it's really hot outside. Today we will probably hit 40 degrees Celsius, so it's already unbearably hot inside. But I will try to make it properly. In my essay collection, Deconstructing Pride, I'm trying to question and critique some of the sort of main ideas surrounding gay culture and the gay identity. I want to lay bare what is sort of what I find problematic about them, and why because of that I was never really able to identify as being gay fully. Not like some friends of mine, some boyfriends of mine were really like, yeah, well, I'm gay, and I'm like, nah, and I was always, I'm not really gay. I may have sex with men, but that's basically all there is to it, which is of course also not entirely true. My sexuality is part of my identity, but I don't think in the way sort of the dominant identity presents itself today. Which does not mean that I'm sort of that I'm this big exception to the rule. I think many people feel the same way I do. And I also keep wondering lately, so how dated that gay identity really is, because when I see younger people who are now like teenagers or older, for whom homosexuality has been, let's say, more normal, which is, has been, homosexuality has been normalized to such a degree that people feel very easy about it, so that it's not really a problem anymore. Even less than it was already, 30 years ago when I started, sort of, hang out, identify with other gay people. So I hope with these young people that this strong bond, this sort of bond between, or this attachment from the identity to this sexuality will somehow loosen, because they don't care so much anymore. They will be more open to what they call diversity in these issues. So one can think very differently about homosexuality even within what they call the gay community, or even among homosexuals. There are also very, very different kind of homosexual people. So for instance, the people I was friends with, the people that were my boyfriends, were a certain type of gay people, or a certain set of types. But sometimes I see other gay people I don't feel related to at all, or I don't feel like I don't have really that much connection to, because they're so different from me. It's not that I mean I don't like them. These are not really people I've encountered in the past, or that I would feel comfortable to hang out with, or I would go to the venues these people would hang out. So everything I'm telling you is sort of from the perspective of the gay culture I've been involved in, and the people I knew, and the experiences I made. And I know that is limiting. So for example, I also don't use any statistics or statistical evidence, because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to sort of sort of tell you about my personal experiences and what I think they mean and how they relate, to the culture and to the dominant ideas about homosexuality. And, I think statistics, something like or statistical evidence, or what I would call scientific evidence, would stand in the way of that, because I still think and I still want to uphold the idea that you can say meaningful things about these things without having to resort to statistics. But because that sort of has become the dominant way of thinking, so whenever you say something, then it has to be sort of calibrated with the latest data. I think that can be useful, but you don't need it to say meaningful things about what it means to be homosexual, what it means to be gay. Now, on the issue of the sort of the generational differences between different gay people is also one of the sort of underlying currents in this latest text I'm presenting, Sentimental Exhibitionist. In that text, the text is basically about gay influencers and what they are doing and what they are presenting and what they are trying to sell you on. I start the essay by telling you a little personal anecdote. So that the things that are being shown and displayed in sort of this gay influencer world were already there even before the internet. And I think that's the purpose of my intro. It is a personal anecdote. It's something. It's kind of a person I encountered when I was very young. Was considerably older than I was. Wasn't old, but he was considerably older. And he invited me, and I expected for some sort of sort of sexual or even like sort of romantic thing. But no. He invited me basically to come watch him, to become his audience. And I'm telling you a little bit about that experience, and that it left me as a 15-year-old boy behind thinking, well, what was this about? And these are one of these experiences that stay with you your entire life and sort of have this sort of profound influence on you. I'm like many other people, I am to some extent on social media. I have a YouTube account, I have like Facebook, I have stuff like that, and because the algorithm can sort of see that I'm homosexual, I get presented with a lot of content, and at some point, this content showed up in my YouTube feed from OnlyFans creators, but I didn't notice that there were OnlyFans creators because their content was actually pretty serious and good, and I actually liked watching it. I only later found out that these were OnlyFans creators, but then I found content that I didn't like, and what didn't I like about it? Was that identity stuff. So it were influencers who were not only trying to sell you their OnlyFans subscription, but they sell you the entire identity. They share their entire life. They show you their boyfriend. They show you their apartment. They show you their circle of friends. They tell you everything about their sex life. They this and this and that. And then I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm thinking, oh, is this only about, are they just trying to sell us? Yes. In the end, they are just trying to sell you, but they want to sell you something more. They want to sell you exactly the identity, I find so problematic. One thing that stands out and I'm talking about in the essay is that they all have videos. That whole circle of OnlyFans creators who are selling you the identity, they all have these videos where they visit a town. I think it's called Provincetown, and it's known as the gayest town in America. I mean, the word Provincetown was never mentioned. It's always just named as the gayest town in America. And what you see is sort of sort of this white wooden houses town, which with a lot of rainbow flags, and symbolic images attached to gayness, and then they visit it like it is some kind of holy site, and these videos are like 10, 50, and you never find out what is so good about the place, but this is the kind of thing they are selling you on, and they also want to sell you on a certain new sort of cool form of sexual promiscuity and stuff like that, and which I find somewhat problematic. But I always kept wondering why do these people annoy me so much? Is it just the identity, or is it just that they're sort of boasting about sex and what they do and their kinks, and always walking around half naked through the house or in underwear? Is it that? No, it's really what they're trying to sell, not only to because this is a version of being gay that is now sold around the world. Now then you can say, well, you don't have to watch it. Okay, but it keeps showing up in my feed, even though I don't watch OnlyFans. I don't have an OnlyFans account. I don't want to watch it, and I don't pay for it. I'm not interested. Yet it keeps showing up. But because I watched it also for in order to write these essays, they keep coming back. And then I found some other influencers who don't show themselves as influencers, but who have this platform called Gay Men Going Deep. They call themselves the Gay Brotherhood. And these are guys my age or a little younger, and they all seem to have problems with drug abuse, with sort of risky sexual practices, with sort of led sort of self-destructive lives, and now sort of are on a spiritual path, sort of towards more to a more wholesome, to become a more wholesome person. But the problem I have with that path is that the only path for them seems to be to sort of to fully adopt themselves, or to fully adopt the existing gay identity, but this time they want to do it like in a proper way. So they feel like they have to rid themselves of all these things that didn't make the identity work for them. So for example, one of the popular terms I use, and which is a term you can basically find in in every essay I will publish, and that is called internalized homophobia. Now, what is homophobia? Now, homophobia, in my definition of homophobia, is that homophobia is the rejection of homosexuality as an identity. So it's a rejection of the gay identity. It's not a rejection of homosexuality per se, but it's a rejection of that identity. And internalized homophobia basically means these are basically homosexuals who reject the identity, who have not fully embraced the identity, who partly embraced it but then rejected some parts of it. So one of the funny parts I'm going to write about with these guys is that they have this they feel conflicted about being attracted to masculine men. So because this is the way homophobia shows itself in the gay world. In order to be still able to feel attractive, to justify feeling attracted to masculine men, they go to sort of what I find, let's say, let's put it like that. They go to great length, or are very creative in justifying, in order to escape the charge of being homophobic themselves. So, and that that I think is really funny to watch. But it is also misleading because the problem I have with it, they present this as if it were the only path. They would never ever, even dare to criticize, the gay identity. So what they do is, or they say, oh well, yeah, okay, gay identity is just this minor part of who we are. It's just we fully accept it, but it's only, I don't know, 10% of what we are. I'm also an American. I'm a father. I'm this. I'm that. You know. But no, there is nothing at all wrong with the identity. We just did it wrong before, and I'm trying to figure out if that is true. Because I find that a little, you know, ridiculous. Um, yeah. Then I would go into the question of what is a gay influencer? What is his sort of ideology? What is he doing? And what is he selling people on? And what, most of all, what is he misleading people on? So what is he, what kind of beauty standards are being pushed here? Um, what is he presenting? What is problematic about that phenomenon? And in the last um, section of the essay, I will talk about something called the section "Gays in the Glass House," because I wonder, because all their sort of this exhibitionistic display of their, with the young OnlyFans guys, not only the sex but their entire private lives are put online. They show their friends what they eat, what they do. They sell you on an entire lifestyle. The other guys, all the from Gay Men Going Deeper, they're exhibitionistic also about sex, but not like in this sort of sexual way, but they keep constantly talking about it. They're obsessed with sex, and they exhibit sort of their inner life, their psychological problems, their sort of spiritual journey, and talk about it in this, as I put it in the essay, in this sort of really pornographic way almost. And I'm wondering, why are they doing that? So is it just, that these people are sort of, sex crazed and they're crazy? No, I mean, because I think these people, in a way, are onto something. Because I want to talk about, that something like, privacy will, to some extent, because of all the, sort of, because of, some all sorts of technological changes, with very few data, you can, increasingly get to know a lot about someone. That's something like privacy will disappear, or at least privacy as we know it. Much, maybe we cannot imagine now, but most of the things about you that we were sort of used to and was private, and which sort of a liberal society thrived on, this idea of privacy, of the privacy, that will disappear. So, but these gays may just, be already living, in the glass house. So that was it. Thank you.